Hey, what's going on, everyone? Astrologer Eric Rosen here for Viking Rising Astrology. This is Monday, May 5th, 2024. Thanks so much for tuning in. Well, things are starting to heat up even more as that moon is sailing through Aries. It will be here most of the day today until about 6 o'clock Central Time. Then it'll get into Taurus. Things will get a little bit more chill with that. So with this intensity emotionally, especially with Mercury on Chiron, we got to make sure that there's no foaming at the mouth. There's no verbal diarrhea intensity. This can even just be our own thoughts in our head, even if we're not actually expressing that. Because like some people, they just like put it out there, blah, blah, blah. Other people, it can be like the negative charge in the head, right? It's like Mercury on Chiron. It's like the wounded ego, like thinking that we're right about something. Especially with that South Node in Libra, it's like justice, someone's got to pay. Like I'm demand that this person, this other relationship be held accountable. So you got to be really careful about that today. It's remembering, Venus is here with the sun in Taurus, and of course Jupiter, Uranus have already met up, but it's seeding the lay of a land that is definitely wild and uncertain, but it's only uncertain because it's giving us the opportunity to create with, to create with our skill sets, to create with our value systems. It's like just keep doing what's like been successful. It's like, and if you're not feeling successful or something's not working, then maybe needs to be a reminder of like, what have you been shown intuitively, especially with Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, of listening to God's message of what innovation could you maybe do to your value systems and different ways of approaching life that's actually aligned actions, right? Because that's the thing too about Mercury on Chiron. It's like we don't want to take like wounded blind actions, where we're just like pushing, and it's just like a fury of doing this thing and this thing and this thing. I think the only way that we really slip up, during this time is if we're not in spiritual integrity. Like Saturn and Pisces is really demanding that. Neptune at the end, though, can start like teaching people's subconscious minds, like almost like their own white lies, their own bypass, their own, there's a saying like called a mythopoetic map, right? Like that means basically that the map is not the actual destination, like that you're the map, like your vibration, your choices, your value systems, how you're choosing to create life with. And so we don't want to like violate ourselves by going into some weird unconscious Neptune and Pisces territory and bypassing and saying like, oh, this will make me feel good, or like this is an escape. This is really bunched up astrology, and I think we almost have to like kind of like look ahead too to the fact that we're no longer all planets direct. It's Pluto retrograde now. It's the only planet that's retrograde. So yeah, we're reviewing all the Aquarius like things of, have we had the power to really think outside the box, connect with others, be a little weird, be a little eccentric. And if we haven't, we're going to be getting to the bottom of that over the next 6 months, and that's fine. But it's like, that's not even so much of the point as it is like, what are we doing with you could say our time, but I would even call this, just our creative energy, our creativity, our talent, self-worth abilities. It's like, we're not like, reminds me of like the movie Sandlot. We're not like a baseball that got signed by the Yankees or Babe Ruth and it just sits there and that's its value. Like, we're meant to throw the ball around, and it's like, who cares whose signature is on it? Like Aries deals with idols. And so with Mercury on Chiron, I think this is a really deeply healing day too, to see like, are we going to keep falling for false idols? Like, let's look at the thing that happened with Diddy or whatever the fuck he calls himself nowadays, like we've been seeing this for years now of like, stuff in Hollywood, but this is others too. Do we idolize like someone in a relationship? Do we idolize ourselves? It's like anything where we're creating a sense of inequality as a way to like not look at our deeper wounds and to see like where sometimes we get blocked of like not taking action to create and connect and actually build bridges, even with people where the value systems may be different than what we're used to seeing. But we can learn from that. We can grow from that, from one another. There's it's being the teacher and the student simultaneously. It's being, the boat in the pond, but being the water itself. It's being the structure, the masculine, but also the flow of the feminine of things, not going outside of ourselves and like looking and putting something on a pedestal, and then like being like, I want that thing, or I want that thing. And it's like, well, is that even in your life right now? If it's not, throw that thought out. And then the next thing is like, well, do you have that skill set, that talent, that self-worth, or those abilities to do that thing? If it's no, it's like, okay, don't get down on yourself and go back to being a baseball sitting on the shelf. It's like, go out and be the energy that is in motion of the expression, of your creativity. So, for example, I'm an astrologer, so I'm doing a horoscope. I'm going to go do a reading, later today. And so it's like, I'm a coach. I'm going to have coaching sessions this week. I'm an intuitive and a channeler, so I'm going to put out messages on social media about intuitively what I'm sensing to help people out, right? Like I'm not going out and like looking at like other people and like what they're doing and like studying them and like being like, oh, I'm going to be like them. It's like, no, fuck that. It's like originality. It's like, use this day for more originality, more authenticity. I would even say it could even be more vulnerability. And that's something that I'm, intending to step into more too, where it's like, we're not expressing ourselves from our cover-ups of where we want to hide our Chiron wounds. We're showing up and being like, yeah, this is the wound. This is what it is. This is how I'm feeling, that's the type of leadership. It's the wounded healer mastery leadership, role modeling. And that's why it's like, don't look to someone on a pedestal, because no one's looking up. Like everyone that's looking up to that, this culture's not designed to celebrate the humble hero that's actually doing the deep spiritual work. If anything, there's plenty of like cancel culture and terrible social media algorithms to try to suppress those type of creatives and intuitives and channelers and artists and just anyone with a message to put out there. So it's like, we have to be okay with that humble nature of expressing it and getting the message out, and like whoever it touches, but that's part of like the light work. That's part of being the spiritual vessel. That's part of like being the canvas and the paintbrush, where it's like, it's already you. It's like, you're already just expressing who you are. And then you can have those visions and intentions of who you'd like to connect with and build those bridges, because you know the qualities of those people with all this Taurus energy, and knowing what your own personal values are to connect with those people. And again, at least there's common ground with people, like of some type of value. Like it can even be the stupidest thing, like, oh, you breathe oxygen. Hey, I breathe oxygen too. Like, oh, really cool. Well, hey, if you want to keep breathing oxygen for this next 20 years, here's what Pluto and Aquarius is going to be like. That is, maybe a little over the top, but it's like, you'd be surprised, talk to people, connect, share, just the thing that makes you feel good and creative, and like keep having those conversations. Like that's being the Chiron guy. That's being the wounded healer, where it's really not about your own ego and how you feel. So it's like, for anyone that's like struggling, like this is a divine message. Like for anyone that's struggling right now, it's like, you got to get over yourself. You got to get over it. You're struggling right now. You got to get over yourself. You got to go build bridges. You got talents, you got worth, you got abilities. Do you think God gave us Jupiter meeting with Uranus and Jupiter still in Taurus until the end of the month, so that people could sit around and just, again, be the fucking Babe Ruth signed baseball on the shelf that just sits there and that's its value? Like, fuck no. Like, go out, use it, create with it, connect with people. The world will be better for you going out and expressing it and utilizing it.